so much is happening. Like, we've been deceived, and it's a high time that we wake up, honestly.
My guy. Now what we not finna do is play with God's word. Now if God said he laid the earth on its foundations and put a firmament over us, then that's exactly what he did. See, in the Bible, God told Isaiah the difference between a ball and a circle. God knew exactly what wordplay he was using in the Bible to describe the earth. In the Bible, God also speaks about the four corners of the earth. A ball does not have corners, but a flat surface do. Now, when I say four corners of the earth, this is what I mean. The same way that man made a compass, a circle compass, and put north, east, south, and west, I'm speaking of exactly that. God also says in the Bible that he set a compass upon the face of the earth. Now, remember when I said that God made the earth as a compass? Okay, so let's talk about it. Now, the compass only recognizes north. North always points towards the center. Hint, the North Pole. Any other direction is only based off the direction of north. How could a compass point south on a globe if they are saying that south is downwards? East and west are curved lines that constantly readjust to align with north. So y'all question is, how come when I'm flying in a plane, I end up in the same place I came from? Well, that only happens with east and west. So if you say that you circled the whole world and ended up in the same place, that's because you were going east and west. But let me tell you something, traveling south is a whole different ballgame. See, because south is any direction leaving the center. See, because if you begin to head south, you will reach the Antarctica ice wall. So traveling south, you will never end up back at the same place. See, because there's a reason they won't allow y'all to travel south and end up at the ice wall. Like, bruh, come on. Even the compass don't want you traveling south. That's why it always points back to north, telling you to turn around every time you start to travel south. See, because if you decide to keep going and get past that ice wall, you will realize there is, in fact, a firmament over us, keeping anyone from leaving this earth. We couldn't be living in a globe if we wanted to. See, water has to be contained. They say that the earth is 71% water, so that by itself would be impossible. And I know y'all probably be wondering, where do rainbows come from? Now, scientists will tell you they self, to make a rainbow, you need water, light, and a mirror. See, when God said he created the firmament, he spreaded it out like a molten looking glass. See, them big rainbows that you see is proof that we live underneath the firmament. It's the sunlight reflecting off of the firmament to remind us of his promise to never flood the earth again. See, God said he set the earth on its foundations so that it should never be moved. But scientists are saying that we are spinning and moving 1,040 miles per hour. And in 1927, we had no idea what the earth looked like, but created this picture. Now, all of a sudden, in 1997, they go see the earth and it looked exactly like that picture? No. Now, do y'all know who this man is? Probably not. But this is Richard E. Byrd. He was one of the first to discover Antarctica in 1928. See, he found evidence of the flat earth with the firmament over us. Even in his diaries and writings, he said it. See, he traveled all the way to the four corners of the earth. See, and when he found this discovery, what did our government do? They all went down to Antarctica 3 years later to claim a piece of it and to keep the truth hidden from us. That's why the Antarctica ice wall today is just like Area 51. Nobody could go there. Why is that? Are they hiding the truth? See, because that's what it seems like. Because that's what it is. See, and they just keep telling y'all all these lies and y'all just get brainwashed by it. They tell y'all they fly to the moon. See, because my question is, how you gonna fly to the moon when God said he made two great lights, the greater light to rule the day and the lesser light to rule the night? Meaning that the moon and the sun ain't even solid objects. They're luminary. You can't just go up there and land on it. Like, come on, bro. Everybody know that landing was fake. The flag up there waving. You could see a shadow on the moon. Y'all talking about the stars is outer space. But in the videos and in the pictures, there's no stars in space. See, because y'all gonna have to do more than that to convince me. Because in Romans 3 and 4, God said, let Yah be the truth and every man a liar. But I know y'all gonna ask me, Anaya, how do sunsets work if the earth is flat? See, in Job 9 and 7, God says, who commands the sun and it does not rise? See, on y'all's globe earth, y'all believe that the sun is setting and rising, but in reality, it's all just about perspective. For example, have y'all ever heard of a vanishing point? See, because in reality, the sun and the moon are not setting and rising. They are rotating. See, because the farther that is getting away from us to rotate around the earth, it's seeming as if it's going down. And the closer that is getting from making its way back around to us, it seems as if it's rising. It's all due to perspective from where we're at.
This appears due to perspective. And here's another example. The line is tied perfectly even across the counter, and the bottles are sitting level on the countertop. Now let's look at it from the counterpoint view.
Okay, so y'all like, yeah, nah, I mean, that sound good. But how do seasons work then? See, what I need y'all to know is that the sun and the moon are actually closer than what they are telling y'all. The sun and the moon are inside the firmament with us. See, electromagnetism actually perfectly explains how the sun and the moon rotates on Earth. See, the sun and the moon are not rock or gas, they're light sources. Now, these light sources are in the shape of a disc that rotate the Earth like a clock, but in a coil-like spiral, dictating the seasons and the climate as it goes. See, now when the sun is beyond the equator ring, the northern hemisphere experiences summer, and the southern hemisphere experiences winter. Inversely, when below the equator ring, the southern hemisphere will experience summer, and the northern hemisphere will experience winter. They got y'all thinking that there's life beyond the earth. There is no space. There is no other planets out there. God says he sits at the top of the firmament. Those planets that y'all are seeing in those telescopes, those are called wandering stars. All of these are light sources. They are not solid objects. Alright, Anaya, so how does a solar eclipse work on a flat earth? And why can't we see stars during an eclipse of the sun and the moon? See, God says in eclipses, the sun will be turned to darkness and the moon to blood before the coming of the great and glorious days of the Lord. As so, see, a solar eclipse happens when the sun and the moon decides to rotate over each other. As so. Okay, so why can't we see stars during a solar eclipse? See, God says immediately after the distress of those days, the sun will be darkened and the moon will not give its light. The stars will fall from the sky and the heavenly bodies will be shaken. So why can't you see stars during a solar eclipse? His word tells you everything you need to know. There is nothing outside the firmament that they know of because they can't get past the firmament. God tells us he placed water above the firmament. All these people didn't have the same vision for no reason. There is many times that they have snitched on themselves, saying that they never been outside the earth, saying that there's nowhere to go, saying that they never been to the moon for real. They even be putting the truth into the cartoons. They are steady trying to break the firmament. They trying to nuke the firmament, sending rockets up there to break the firmament. They trying everything in their power. And as a matter of fact, my next video, I'm going to be showing y'all videos of them really saying they ain't never been to the moon. I'm going to be showing y'all videos of them trying to nuke the firmament, them trying to send rockets to the firmament, and even putting hidden truth into these cartoons and movies. These people know exactly what they are doing, and they know exactly what the firmament is. I'm telling y'all, that's exactly the reason why we can't go to the Antarctica ice wall. You can't fly over it. You can't do nothing. They don't want you seeing nothing, knowing nothing. Because they know once we find out that there is an end to this earth, that we gonna know the Bible is the true history of this world. And I want y'all to know that there is no other planets outside of this firmament. When God said he created the earth, I'm pretty sure he would have said, I created Saturn, Mars, Neptune, and Venus. He calls those wandering stars. And I want to tell y'all so bad what stars are, but y'all can just see it in the next video because I don't have time to actually explain it right now because I only have 10 minutes on TikTok. But when I tell y'all the truth about stars, it's going to blow y'all mind. See, because what I want y'all to know is back in the day in them old Bibles, before all the wordings was getting changed into their own interpretation, in 2 Samuel 11:11, it said that the earth was flat. But that was before they started changing everything, so people wouldn't know the truth. And that's why God said those who took away from his word and added to his word will be greatly punished. So if y'all watched my last video, y'all know that I was talking about how we actually live underneath a firmament. But in that video, I told y'all at the end that I was going to tell y'all what stars were. Now listen up, because this finna be crazy. So when I was looking through my comments, I seen a lot of people saying that when they look through telescopes, that the stars look like lights underwater. Someone also said they shake like ripples, and they look like as if you're looking through water. So I was looking at the comments and I was like, oh, they don't know. They don't know what stars is. Woo! Well, let me tell you. See, what y'all don't know is stars are actually dancing glimpses of light, interacting with the water above the firmament. See, when God made the firmament, he divided the waters from which they were under the firmament and the waters that was above the firmament. Why you think the sky is blue? Big bodies of water is always going to turn the water blue. Just like when you get in your bathtub, the water come out clear, but once it fills up the tub, it has that blue tint to it. See, I'm finna show y'all a video of someone zooming up to a star with their phone. See, those colors that you see coming off of the stars are based off a wavelength interval and frequency interval. Now listen to that word I just said, frequency. Alright, so now I'm about to show y'all a video of a scientist creating a star and saying what you need to create one.
This star in a jar is made when a sound wave is passed through a small bubble inside a flask of liquid. And this sound wave makes the bubble do something remarkable. First it expands, then it collapses. And this collapse happens so violently that vapor molecules trapped inside the bubble slam together and heat up so much that the bubble gives off an incredible burst of heat and light, several thousand times a second, giving the appearance of a star.
So key words, sound wave, frequency, water bubbles. A strong sound wave, frequency, creating such a strong force through a water bubble that makes it collapse and burst into light, creating a star. Now remember when I said that the color of the stars that keep on changing is based off a wavelength interval and frequency interval. Now God said, in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. He said, let there be light, and there was light, creating light with the sound, vibration, and frequency of his voice. The Word is God. He created those same stars using the frequency of his voice and using the water bubbles throughout the water above the firmament. His voice was so powerful that it allowed the bubbles to collapse, making dancing water glimpses of light. See, Japanese scientist Masaru Emoto came up with a new way to capture messages through water. He took samples of water and freeze them at -25 degrees. He'll then analyze the water after a few hours underneath a dark field microscope with photographic capabilities in a lab in a constant temperature of -5 degrees. He'll then test out different audio frequencies and human sound vibrations on each sample. He focuses on human vibration energy, such as thoughts, words, music, and how it affects the molecular structure of water. Here's some of his results and works of him doing it, using different sounds and words, creating different shapes on the water, as so. It's similar to the way semantics work. Basically, as the pitch and the tone increases, geometric patterns will form and become more complex. Semantics or sound frequencies in water resembles the pulsating pattern of what an actual star looks like when zoomed in. Different frequencies and sounds and vibrations in water created the different forms of dancing glimpses of light. book of Enoch also talks about how lightning comes from the stars, but they will not lose their form. The Bible also talks about how powerful God's voice is. It's the sound of rumbling thunder when he speaks. So remember, God spoke the word into being, and it was so. Such as words, speech, sound, frequency, vibration. His words created the stars within the water above the firmament. The same way that scientists just showed us how they made a star. Using water by adding a frequency of a strong enough sound and vibration. What sound is more powerful than God's? Creating water bubbles that collapsed and bursted into light is the same way that God spoke light into existence, using the frequency, vibration, and sound of his voice through the water of the firmament, creating water bubbles all throughout the water, that his word was so strong it allowed the bubbles to burst into light, creating stars, creating the dancing glimpses of water above the firmament. So always remember, in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. The Word, frequency, sound, vibration, speech, sound wavelength. Whew! What a God.
This is crazy. Yo. I can't believe this. My whole life has been a lie. You know what? I'll have to rewatch, what is it called? Under the Dome. I have to watch that series again because the last time I watched, that's a few years back. So I'll have to watch it again because I know it's going to slap differently.
Green screen glitches, grabbing objects that aren't really there, pulling on invisible wires, getting tangled in their harnesses, and even astronauts appearing out of thin air. This begs the obvious question. If they're really up there, why are they using Hollywood techniques to fake the footage? Now, what's really interesting is that they train for spacewalks in an underwater pool with a complete ISS replica. Now, surely they aren't filming these spacewalks in an underwater pool and then editing them to appear if they're in space, because that sure would be something, wouldn't it? I'm calling on the Brevard County Commissioners to open a full investigation into NASA's fraudulent practices and use of taxpayer dollars. It costs NASA $3 billion per year to operate the ISS, and if they don't have a darn good explanation as to why they're faking these videos, I and the public would like a darn good explanation as to where our tax money is going. And if they are indeed faking the funk, it is our duty to expose and eliminate this fraudulent and astronomically wasteful ISS program.
It's about time.
So there I was, just minding my own business, looking at Google Earth, and this big snow-covered monstrosity is staring me in the face like, why is that covered in snow? I look into Ireland and some other areas around it, Iceland. Ireland gets snow only once a year, 1 day a year. So I keep digging a little bit deeper, and I finally get underneath this cloud cover here, and a few images pop up. And I say, oh, images, what are they? Well, this is what you got, which I'm sure that looks familiar to you, right? Looks just like the pictures they give us of Mars. So I'm just kind of creeping around here and definitely noticing the same kind of undulation changes and same kind of rock, same kind of dirt. Only thing that's missing is that nice little red tint that they pay somebody $150,000 a year to put on there. But those mountains, those rocks, definitely exactly like we see on Mars. So I said, I wonder what they're doing out here. What is all this equipment for? I'm sure it can't be NASA, right? Whose orange Hummer is this? Okay, that looks like a NASA symbol. Well, let's dig a little further because I can't really see anything on here other than it certainly looks like a NASA symbol. And I can't read that. Tried. So this one here said, roving the Arctic. So what is that? Doesn't make any sense. Pop in here. See if we can find anything. Again, same kind of mountains. That looks like the same kind of water I've seen before that I thought was water on Mars. Who knows? Zoom in. What's that? Oh, nothing. Just looked like it was funny. So I'll keep kind of going through here and see if it... What the... Yeah. So, I think I found out where Mars is, guys. It's just about 1,000 miles north of me. Not quite the distance that NASA says, but I can't find anybody who's in charge of this. They must be hiding behind these rocks. Oh, no, there they are out in front of everybody, just standing there. Lovely. Clown number 1, clown number 2, and clown number 3. Yeah, this is very empty here. Oh, there's one of those ATVs. All right, now we're on to something. Oh, I got another truck. Oh, yeah, it says NASA. What's that say? Mars Project?
Telling me that something made of feathers can go more than twice as fast as the fastest baseball pitch in the world and say that it hasn't been mechanically engineered by the government, that it doesn't have a jet propulsion system? You gotta be kidding me.
See this? You know what it smells like? It smells like lies.
Starting in the 1970s, birds were disappearing in mass numbers, and people immediately began to speculate that the government was getting rid of them and replacing them with bird drones. So we see a dip in population in the 1970s, and then it slowly started recovering.
Have you ever seen a pigeon outside of the city? You will never see a pigeon in a forest. And this makes sense because pigeons didn't actually exist before cities were built.
We think we're so smart. As humans, we put tape over our laptop cameras because we don't want the government watching us, but yet we neglect to pay attention to the birds watching us right outside of our windows. We think we're so smart, we say, I'm not gonna buy an Amazon Alexa because I don't want the government listening in on me, but then we buy birds as pets. How much stupider can we get?
I once went over to a friend's house and they had just gotten a pet, and here I am thinking it's a cat or a dog, which heaven knows maybe the government's planning on replacing those too. But I had to leave the second I saw that it was just a little tweeter bird, and I haven't talked to them ever since.
As far as my personal experience with birds, it's a little hard for me to talk about. I had a bird a bird in my house as a kid. My first pet. And I never knew. The whole time I never knew. Now that I look back on it, I'm like, unless it was like closing its eyes, uploading at night, it was watching. Every time I walked in the room.
Wow. Believe nothing you hear and only half of what you see. Because at this point, anything, and I mean anything, can be fake.
You can't tell me this is normal. Look at his forehead. This is bullshit. That's a mask. That's a skin mask. It ain't normal. Look at it.
You can't believe anything you see these days. These glasses aren't even real. Neither is my face. All this stuff was 3D tracked on using these dots that I drew on with this marker. Actually, the marker isn't real either. Neither is the background. Or my face. Have a good night.
These guys are central casting. There's nobody in Hollywood that looks like these people.
That is crazy.
This is footage of the moon vanishing into Earth's environment. The moon.
Alright, so boom. Posted a video talking about how Obama is not black and his father is not that guy from Kenya. Alright, so this is Barack. And that ain't even his name. He changed his name. His name is Barry. I'm gonna call him, what up, Barry? Alright, Barry. Let's get to it, Barry. Now let's take a real good look at this man right here, right? Boom. Here we have a picture of his mother. You dig what I'm saying? You see, he kind of look like his mother as an adult. Dig me? Kind of got that same like little chin or whatever, the same little smile. Now you mean to tell me that this man right here is Barack Obama's father? Oh, look at him. Looks nothing like Obama, bro. Matter of fact, you ever seen that movie, The Wash? Remember the owner of the car wash who got kidnapped? This man is Obama's father. I mean, he looked more like him than this other cat. Look at his face. Look at the ears. Little smile. Now let's go back then. Really, fam? Hey, come on, son. Where's my mom? Y'all be tweaking. Like, let's just look, B. Come on, man. Like, he does look like his father. That other cat, I'm telling you, that's something from The Wash, bro. Like, that's not Obama's father. Look at this. Look at the resemblance. You see this little little part right here. You see the ears? You see the lips? You see the chin? They look alike. And son ain't from no Chicago, B. Foreign student. Foreign student. Okay? Not to mention, them kids is not they kids. And Michelle is really Michael. Take a good look. These is not their kids. She looks nothing like Obama or Michelle. Just look at them. These is the real parents. Hello? That little girl on the bottom right look just like her father. They got the same nose, same smile, everything. What are you talking about? When I tell you that people are paid actors, bro, this little girl, look, she got the same face as her father, son. She looks nothing like Michelle or Michael or Obama. Son is a whole fraud, man. A fraud, B, and did nothing for our people. Hello.
When I tell you we've been played.
Imagine being on a plane, and suddenly the trip lasts 35 years. You boarded in 1954, and you arrived in 1989. What you just heard isn't fantasy. It actually happened a few years back. Precisely on September 4th, 1954, Flight 513 from Santiago Airlines kinda soared from the German city called Aachen. On board, there were 88 passengers and 4 crew members, making it a total of 92 people. The flight was headed to Brazil, exactly towards Porto Alegre, meaning it had to cross the entire Atlantic Ocean. But before the flight could reach its destination, something unexpected happened. When the plane took off from the airport just a few hours later, it completely disappeared from existence, and there was nothing on the radar at all. One day, on October 12th, 1989, without any warning or radar detection, the missing plane landed safely at the airport after more than 35 years. The question is, where had the plane been all this time? You want the shocking news? Immediately after the plane landed at the airport, the security team rushed to the plane site and started searching for the plane. The real shock hit them. When they entered the plane, they found 92 skeletons seated in the plane's seats. So they entered the cockpit, of course, to see who was piloting the plane. They opened the cockpit door and found the captain. But the captain was just a human skeleton, perched in his seat and still clutching the plane's steering. The most widely accepted theory among people trying to solve the mystery of Flight 513's disappearance is the wormhole theory. It's possible that Flight 513 entered a time hole, meaning the plane traveled through time. In 1916, Einstein studied equations about the fabric of the universe in his general theory of relativity. He found that there are gaps in space that have an insanely strong gravitational pull and just gulp down anything that passes by them. These gaps are what are known as black holes. Turns out, Einstein's equations and predictions were right as time rolled on to the year 2019, when one of Einstein's predictions was confirmed by snapping the first ever real photo of a black hole by NASA. The controversy was brewing between those who doubted the incident entirely and those who believed that something paranormal happened. But the question remains on who landed the plane. Many enthusiasts of mystery and enigmas tried to solve the riddle of Flight 513, but no one succeeded. What do you think?
Why are they feeding you lab meat?
I'm sure we all heard about what happened in Vegas, but this is about to happen to the whole world. Be prepared. These fake alien invasions is the last thing the government has over us. The world is about to come to an end. There is a clock that is rotating. That clock just stopped. All these events are just distractions because we are going to a greater shift. And what I mean a greater shift is we are really in Revelations. Everyone is about to see what has been hidden for thousands of years. I don't care if you close your eyes, you will see the truth. Even if you don't want to see the truth, you will see it. Everything in the Matrix is dealing with software upgrades. Everything has to have an upgrade. It was a time when religion people wanted Jesus to come back, and now woke people are waiting for these things to come back to save them. It's the same thing. We don't need no saviors. We save ourselves. The reason why they are doing all these distractions is because the earth is about to stop producing fruits and vegetables. This is really taking place right in front of our face. These governments know what's about to take place. they know, and deep down inside, we know there's about to be no more fruits and vegetables and food for us to eat. These people like this know that the earth is about to stop producing fruits and vegetables. This is why he is buying all of the farmland. Why do a scientist need farmland? They understand that they cannot evolve. We are supposed to turn our bodies into all light, but they can't evolve. So technology or transhumanism is the next step. Artificial intelligence. These fruits are not real. The meat in these laboratories are not real. They are for robots. They're trying to turn us into robots. Everyone you see, we are sharing the same heartbeat. But what the Matrix did was they replaced the heart with the artificial mind. Now everyone is thinking the same and talking the same.
The people.
How is it possible that we have cars literally melted into the ground?
I know how they're gonna attack. Think of a microwave. Frequencies. If you put a metal fork in there, it sparks and explodes. But if you put broccoli in there, it heats it up. The difference is the material it's made of. You cannot put metals in a microwave. High frequency device. Now let's talk about this direct energy weapon. That's a high frequency device. Melting all the metals, leaving trees behind. Sounds like they're using microwave technology and it's affecting metals. Well, imagine if you had a bunch of metals in your body. Heavy metals, like barium, aluminum. You know, the stuff they spray in the air or the stuff they put in water, even in food. The you know what. Long story short, we need to eliminate metals in our body. Imagine if they turn that up higher, level 2. The more metals you have in your body, the higher the chances of you exploding, melting like those cars, catching on fire, sparking like the fork in the microwave. You need a detox from heavy metals right now. I did another video on this recently about a movie I watched. They use frequencies to disintegrate people. This isn't a movie, folks. We're test subjects. I saw a video about the people in Hawaii that were jumping in the ocean because their skin was burning. It wasn't burning because of the fire. It was from the frequencies coming from whatever it is they hit it with. They were cooking. Water in their body was cooking. And if they had a lot of metal in there, or if the frequency was higher, people would be just like those cars, disintegrated. Far-fetched? Not anymore. I use frequencies to detox. I use mineral salts, cilantro under the tongue, onions on the bottom of your foot, rebounding on a trampoline. Stop eating crap.
If you've gone through your spiritual awakening, you already know that Earth is a game and it is also a school for our souls. This was not caused by Mother Nature. This was caused by the players. You see, most of the truth about what's going on Earth is hidden in the movies. This is not random. This is sending a message. Remember Moana? Where was Moana based? What was the plot of the movie Moana? That's right, the darkness was destroying Earth and it was up to Moana to go and save the Earth by bringing the heart back where it belongs. What does the heart symbolize? Our emotions, the waves, the seas, that's our emotions. And what happens when we open our hearts? We ascend, we connect back to our souls, we connect back to our higher self. The players who currently rule the world don't want us to remember all of this. They don't want this prophecy to come true. But one cannot destroy a prophecy by destroying more of Earth. Moana symbolizes all the light workers on Earth here to save Mother Nature. You cannot cancel a prophecy just so you can create more hotels. You cannot continue to abuse Mother Nature forever just for money. The best part is, we have already done this. We have already saved Earth. What you're seeing right now is the last attempt to cause fear and panic. And do you know why the truth is in the movies and not in the news? All creative people are connected to source, where all information is stored. The Akashic Records, you might have heard of them, that's source. All creative people have a unique link to their higher self, which connects them to source. This is how they're able to channel these ideas, to channel these prophecies. What you're seeing in the news is propaganda by a bunch of companies that own all the networks. You don't see any of the spiritual stuff. You don't see any of the creativity. You don't see anything to help you to better yourself, to better understand yourself. It's all fear-based programming, because what you believe in becomes the truth. And I don't just choose to believe that this is the future. I already know it. But make no mistake, this is spiritual warfare. Spiritual warfare or not, you cannot stop the Great Awakening. The Great Awakening has also been predicted, and it's already happening.
Facts. they put the truth in movies.
This is the shocking reality of India's Jarawa tribe, people who have been exploited for years and even became a human zoo for tourists. A dark secret that the public wasn't supposed to know about. This is the Jarawa tribe, and they live deep in the jungles of the Andaman Islands where all forms of access are forbidden. These people lived untouched by civilization for thousands of years. In fact, they're among the first people to migrate from Africa to Asia. And to this day, the tribe is notorious for being hostile and dangerous. People believed them to be cannibals, while locals are still afraid of them, as they're known to kill anyone that wanders onto their lands. There are approximately 400 members of the tribe, left to live in a primitive existence, hunting with bows and arrows, and fishing with spears. Neighbors to the infamous Sentinelese tribe, they hate the outside world. They don't want interaction, and they don't want to be close to our world. They have killed any outsider that has ever tried to contact them. But then, things
Why do you think your house is shaped like a square? Squares, they got you living in boxes. Squares and rectangles to hinder you. This is the prism shape. Rectangles, they hinder electricity. These are prism shapes. Rectangles. Rectangles. Squares and rectangles, these are prism shapes. Meanwhile, you're supposed to live under pyramid-like structural domes because your electricity could flow. They know that, so they put you in prison or prism shapes, which is where the word prison comes from. It comes from prism. So rectangles. You can't generate no electricity with rectangle shapes. Those are prisms. You need in vortexes. Pyramids. This is the vortex right here. The point where two lines meet to form any electrical output. This is why in Egypt there's big ass pyramids with what? Vortexes. That's the whole point of a pyramid. It's a vortex. 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 That's why we had them. And they will never tell you that. They try to act like they don't know why they're there. They know why the fuck they're there and what they're there to do. Energy, generate electricity and energy. We literally eat the shit. We are electricity. At your base form, you break down to atoms, electrons, neutrons, protons, neutrinos, light photons. That's all electricity.
Do you remember in school they told us that we are good conductors of electricity, right? In Africa, we used to have those mud houses, and the roof was in form of pyramids before the Western modern houses were introduced, and that makes so much sense. That would make so much sense, and it's so sad because we forgot some of these things. Nowadays, it's so rare to find such mud houses. So we've come to an end of this video, and I hope you've learned something. Myself have learned a lot. Don't keep this knowledge to yourself. Kindly share it with your friends, with your family, and let's share this knowledge information together. Yeah, so thank you so much for being here. I really do appreciate you a lot. Nawapenda sana sana sana. Love you all so much.